Hi, I am...
Subukan natin bumalik sa bawat daan na matinik. Kahit na hindi makahalik, maabot ka lamang ipalaging sabik na sabik.
Welcome to my vlog. Yeah. Okay. For this vlog, I am going to share my reflection or essay. Yeah. Usapan akong ipang sulat, no? Sulat na ako ang gipang buhat mga reflection, no, sa midterm. Okay, reflection lang sa midterm. Ako ang gipang buhat na mga essay reflection may tungod sa og naay kalabutan, no, siyempre sa Philippine history. So come on and join me. Let's jump into the video. So let's start. First is Act of Declaration of Philippine Independence. The mode of this reflection, I used mirroring. So okay, let's start. The passage that I have read talks about the independence that the Filipino of the Republic of the Philippines has been longing for. L.M. Johnson, a colonel of artillery, witnessed and signed the agreement to free the nation after being conquered by different colonizer. Under the regime of the dictator Don Emilio Aguinaldo. It is mentioned that the flag should not be altered in many ways or in any ways, as it signifies a great history and greatest representation of the country. After reading the passage, after reading the document, I do relate of how good it feels to be free, right? Freedom is present. The essence that I have the right to think. I have the right to think, to dress what I like, and to do whatever I want. But there are still certain amount of limitation in what I can do. And as a person who have strict parents, the freedom that I have experiencing now cannot be put into words. I feel like I am more me. I have not felt independent when I was in my parents' house. So they know everything about me, even when I snore. Yeah, my decision will be accordance to their decision, where I can't see as defined by the books or depicted in movies. Though I cannot blame them about it because I have an Asian household. So, papatawag college, diyan na, I have to leave home and go to my aunt's place to study. There, I was able to do things that I have not done before. So, even if there are still minor restriction, I know that it is only because they care for me. Nevertheless, I felt more independent than I was before. I feel happy. About it because I was able to know more about myself, discover new things, and I feel like I grew as a person, right? Next is 1899 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, Malolos Convention. The mode that I used in this reflection is mirroring again. The Malolos Constitution was specifically set out to be a safeguard or a protection, right? A protection against abuse or abuser right? And mentioned the national and individual rights, not only to the Filipino people, but also to the foreigners. The Constitution as a whole is a monument that the ability of Filipino to describe their own course along democratic lines. It is placed in a time of storm and darkness, and it symbolizes the ideals of a person emerging from time of darkness into the light. The Constitution helped me to understand and to see why my parents established a certain set of rules for me that I must follow as long as I am under their roof, right? So that I would grow into a fine man. A fine man. Good man. They also made the rules so that it can help me as a guide to know what is right or wrong. It might be a little disappointing that there are things that I should not do. I should not do, bro. But if I look at it closely, disobeying the rules or laws would result to bad consequences that I may regret for a lifetime. We must follow the rules to keep ourselves from danger and to avoid hurting others. So next, Treaty of Peace between the United States of America and the Kingdom of Spain. Treaty of Paris. The mode of this reflection, mirroring again. I use mirroring again. This topic talks about that in France, the Treaty of Paris is signed. Having assembled in Paris and having exchanged full powers, which were found to be in due and proper form, have altered discussion of matters before them, agree upon the following articles, and formally ended the Spanish-American War, and granting the United States its first overseas empire. Under the treaty, Cuba gained independence from Spain, and United States gained possession of the Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Guam. Treaty of Paris between United States of America and the Kingdom of Spain established an articles that contains very important rules and laws that they must follow, and verifies statement for peace, protection of life and property, full of serenity and delighted. It also provides assurance and strong feelings of direction when I started reading the document. I had that sense. I also feel like I am being scolded. Being scolded by these articles in the way that you must know your boundaries in life, which you must give up the things that you cannot do what's right for it. I am so blissful about what I have read because of what I have experienced with my friends. Before we get to know each other, we are the members of small healthy gang. Yeah, small healthy gang, you know what I mean? Small healthy, and we were not the same team. Dili mi magkaparehas og team. So we always fighting for territory matter. Until we realized that we were not doing something good to ourselves. Yeah, that is why we agreed to gather the leaders, mga opisyalis sa amo daw ganggang daw dito, and it makes an agreement to end all of this fighting, and let be friends for the better and for the peace of every members of our small and healthy gang. So there's a lot of relinquishment which set both parties in order to achieve their goals, which peace, not only in terms of their objectives but in our entire longing for peace in our country. That makes me feel better. Yeah, there's some point that it makes me shiver in a good way. Okay, next. Poop. This topic entitled Jose Rizal's retraction controversy. For this reflection, I used the mode of microscope. What Rizal said in the paper: I declare myself a Catholic, and in this the religion in which I was born and educated. I wish to live and die. Yep, it made an impact to me. Because, as a strong believer of God and Catholicism, that is also how I want my life would be directed. Also, here in the Philippines, we are mostly Catholics, and we uphold the values that are taught to us, and we continue to carry on those beliefs and traditions as a whole nation. Therefore, if there will be any movement that involves Catholic Church, the society will absolutely be greatly affected. Many Filipinos hold conservative views on social issues, some of which are strongly supported by Catholic Church teaching. For example, 2/3 or 67% believe that divorce is morally unaccepted. 3 times proportion of America who believes 22%. Catholicism and the Spanish state were inextricably linked, and the religious played a dominant role in the Philippine administration. As a result, they were deeply involved in Filipino exploitation. They were also responsible for their tenants' religious education and spiritual well-being, and some friars advocated for the interest of their parishes against exploitation by their orders and secular leaders. Traditions are important. The belief in God pervades many facets, many ways of life. For majority of Filipinos, Christians observe major holidays, variety of ways, which are most notable of which are Christmas, Lent, and Holy Week, also Day, several local fiestas honoring pastoral saints, particularly the Virgin Mary. As a person that grew in the beliefs of Catholicism and Christianity, as a student or as a person that grew in the beliefs of Catholicism and Christianity, it had affected the ways of life for me, my family, the society. When the Spanish colonizers came and introduced this to us. Our lives changed. I, as individual, praises, glorifies God with the ways of life as a Catholic. And like Rizal, I would go by, live by, and die as a Catholic. Next is the convention between the United States of America and Great Britain, delimiting the boundary between the Philippine archipelago and the state of North Borneo, 1930, by the President of the United States of America. The mode of this reflection is mirroring. I used mirroring again. This course will go through the conventions clause and discuss the issues of delimitation between the Philippines and North Borneo. 1930, there separates plenipotentiaries. Finished and signed the convention in Washington. It clearly demarcates the border between Philippine archipelago and the British protected state of North Borneo. Started as these maps indicate the Treaty of Paris boundaries were linked to the same treaty and form a part of it on January 2, 1930. When the United States and the United Kingdom signed the convention delimiting the border between the Philippine archipelago and the state of North Borneo. I really appreciate the articles in the way that they can do something great. Yes, great for our country. The territory that we have is well respected because it's all set and verified that it is our land, our territory. It's relieving. It's very relieving. It feels good to know that everything they did ended well and they justify the event, because if they do not have communication with each other and the respective full powers, and if they do not form agreement upon and conclude some articles, there will be an indescribable cataclysm, and I don't want to go that way. So it feels great, feeling good, like I should, and walking around neighborhood. Okay, next punta. So this lesson entitled President Emilio Aguinaldo's Declaration of War on the United States, Malolos, Bulacan, on February 4, 1899. The mode of this reflection is mirroring. Okay, Emilio Aguinaldo addressed the Filipino people with a proclamation. He realized that the American soldier had assaulted the Filipino army in an unjust manner. He ordered the end of all peaceful and amicable contact between the two countries, Philippines and United States of America. Okay, inside, sa sulod sa ako ang dughan, I was flooded with a warm, creamy sensation. I had the notion that I was going to make friends with my opponent. Friend your enemy. This reflects on my life and how I grow my connection to every individual around me, from hostility to friendship. I was taken aback by what Emilio Aguinaldo accomplished. He fought so bravely against the Americans. His command and everything that he said made me tremble, but in a nice way. This may cause a good impact to me to become a great leader. He issued a declaration to the Filipino people saying that he had taken necessary action to preserve the friendly ties between the Filipino and the American forces. However, he said that the nation integration must be preserved as well. This gave me an impact on how I act properly when there are some troubles in the group that I lead. So next is this topic entitled the 1935 Constitution. I used mirroring as a mode of this reflection. 1935 Constitution. The important provision of tidying up Duffy law was organized of constitutional convention that would frame the fundamental laws of the country. Commonwealth government's legal foundation were laid by the 1935 Constitution. Before the United States granted the Philippines independence from the United Kingdom in 1946, there was 10-year transition period. In 1940, the 1935 Constitution was revised to remove the unicameral legislature and replace it with a bicameral legislature. The basic principles and laws of the Philippines deals about Filipino people, imploring the aid of divine providence. Do ordain and promulgate this constitution which shall embody their ideas, conserve and develop the patrimony of the nation, promote the welfare of the people, and secure the blessing of individuals under the regime of justice, liberty, and democracy. There are 5 articles which deals about: first, the national territory, Declaration of Principles, Bills of Rights, suffrage. There is indescribable feeling that I felt, but I am certain that I felt high volume of amazingness.
Wow.
Because the Constitution provided the legal foundation of Commonwealth government. And also what I have read in the Bill of Rights, that there shall be no involuntary servitude in any form unless it is imposed as a punishment for a crime for which the person has been lawfully convicted, except in instance of invasion, insurrection, or rebellion. The privilege of habeas corpus shall not be suspended. Yeah, this kind of feeling will bring me up to the cloud.
Wow.
What does that mean? Next is the topic entitled Lopez Salvador P. Bataan has fallen. The mode of this reflection is, I think, telescope. It has been alarming how the disaster are coming in our country, with the latest concern about the massive flooding in Leyte, which caused casualties and other major and minor damages. We Filipinos have been very resilient. Leyte, a place where these disasters occurred very often, have been very strong and very strong faith that they will get through any disaster that have and will occur. As a youth of the country, I have been inspired with how we deal all the issues of the country, all the issues that occurred. As I can see how we fight every day, I am encouraged to believe that our faith is our Savior, that will help us to live a life that is free from constant fear. This will surely make a better person out of me that will soon be another inspiration to others. And next topic, entitled Azazona Incarnation, 1937, the significance of the woman's suffrage. I used telescope as a mode of this reflection. In this article, Listening Enough, feminists assess Robredo's conservative stance on gender issues. Vice President Lena Robredo, presidential candidate, has fallen short of supporting some progress causes that gender advocates have long fought for. But some are willing to bank on her track record of consulting and listening. Despite this, Robredo's hold over a solid feminist vote may have been compromised. Her stance on the said gender issues go against what many advocates have been fighting for in a country, and that is still under a strong patriarchal grip. Another issue that was raised about abortion. The Philippines has a strict law against abortion, but this not stop women in the country from trying to induce them. At least 3 women die after day from compilation for unsafe abortion, according to the Philippine Safe Advocacy Network. Though women were given the right and chances, we cannot deny that certain prejudice about women is still circling. Even if we are in the generation where humans are giving more and more contribution and improving themselves of what they are capable of, we have not completely destroyed stereotypes about women. They're still seen as someone that is supposed to be soft and delicate as flower, or as a prize that men could compete for. This kind of mindset is only belittling women and discourage them to go beyond themselves. Up until now, there are still unsettled concern which made women advocates raised up women empowerment. I am being affected in a way that my mother, sister, and other relatives are women, and they might been struggling in exercising their rights because of ongoing stereotypes. I believe that as a youth, the change could start with me and other youth. We can fight that stigma and continue to honor the greatness of the women. Women, just like any human being, should be respected and treated well, because we all owe a big part of ourselves to them. Next supplementary topic, entitled The Case Study of Paglima Taupan the rise and fall of Sultanate of Sulu. So I use mirror as a mode of this reflection. I was reading the story of Paglima Taupan and his son, Haji Abdullah Maas Nunyo. Paglima Taupan is the ruler of the island of Balangini, the most important organizational center of the major slave detailing group of the Sulu Sultanate. Haji Abdullah Maas Nunyo is the son of Paglima Taupan, and he even served as an altar boy in a Catholic church at the age of 31. In 1880, he was tasked returning to Basilan with other Sama refugees, purportedly to Christianize the Moro, but got acquaintance instead with the Quran. In 1985, the Spanish authorities allowed him to build a mosque in a community near in Zamboanga. Then he came back as Haji Abdullah Maas Nunyo. No? Kaya sa una, gipangalan na sa una sa mga Espanyol o Antonio de la Cruz Nunyo. So sa pagbalik niya dito sa Basilan, no, na-convert na noon siya og ibalik siya og pagka-Muslim. Nagibalik ang iyang pangalan na Haji Abdullah Maas Nunyo. So in 1914, the United States Haji Abdullah Maas Nunyo to Mindanao as a part of participation operation to disseminate the message of Islam peace. When he died in 1980, Nunyo established his son in Zamboanga. Mayor's office, and persuaded the American to hire a Turkish imam for the mosque. And being so dramatic, in 1948 okay, in Spanish, the gunboats attack Balangini, no? Balangini burned dwelling, and took captive the local population, while Panglima Taupan, okay, naasa layo, naasa Sulu or Borneo, sa Malaysia ba siya. So magbalik niya ang iyang island and settlements na kung na deserted, no? Guba na apil pa gyud ang iyang asawa at sa mga nadakpan iyang membro. Among those taken was his pregnant pagid na asawa. So grabe jud kayo bay. Grabe jud kayo. The captives were taken to the Spanish naval station in Cavite and forced to convert Christianity, no? Muslim to Christianity. Paglima managed to contact his wife, pinaka grabe jud, no? Grabe kahago kay kuan good. Imagine for the first time niya nakita yung anak. Pagkita niya 10 years old na dako na kaayo niya, wala pa jud say sa pag-travel, no? Sa pag-travel wala jud biadji ambot, wala way train, wala airplane, wala bus, wala masakyan, no? Mano-mano ayang pag-adto dito sa Cavite, gikan diriya sa Mindanao, Zamboanga, sa Balangini, no? Grabe kalisod ang giagian ni Paglima Taupan. So grabe sa ka-emotional na story. Grabe jud yung gigugol sa sulod sa 10 years para makita ang iyang asawa, pinalanggang asawa o pinalanggang anak, iyang pamilya. dito arapod siya namatay midiga sa mga baril dito as kagabitin no kay gikalibanga siya tungod sa disease. This lesson showed me that you must be a good listener and follower in order to be successful and productive leader. I saw something similar. I saw something similar in Haji Abdullah Maasnonia. He must set positive example for people who want to be a leaders or improve their leadership abilities. I've learned that in order to see what you've always wanted, you have to work hard, work smart, and put your plans into action. It's up to you to make it happen. I'm so inspired by paglima taupan and kung unsa ang na-achieve o na-accomplished ni Haji Abdullah Maasnonia. Okay, that's it for this episode. Right. Yes, and nadaghan jud kay ko na-learn, nakuha na pwede na jud ako i-apply sa ako ang self. So thank you for listening. Yes, magkita ka pohon. Okay, I guess that's that. Thank you and God bless us all.